Where's the, excuse me, the 3:30 Escambia County Commissioners Attorney-Client session has just ended. We will go into public forum. All right, I'm going to call,
I think you need, oh, there we go.
we had 3 a second ago, didn't we? We were good. We had 3, okay. Today's a day of a lot going on, that's all I'll say. Okay, Board of County Commissioners, March 6, 2025, 4:30 public forum will convene. Please turn your cell phones to vibrate, silence, or offsetting. The Board of County Commissioners allows any person to speak regarding any item on the agenda for up to 3 minutes, unless otherwise determined by the chairperson, to allow sufficient time for all speakers. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or other conduct which interferes with orderly conduct of the meeting. Upon the completion of public forum, we will move into the regular board meeting. How many speakers we have, Jose? Okay, I have 11 right now. I'll allow 3 minutes. If I get more, we will go to 2 minutes. Our first speaker is Sharon Galbert. George Levy, you're on deck.
Good evening, Sharon Gobert, Greater Pensacola Figure Skating Club. And I just wanted to first say thank you all for actually having heard us and listened as we shared our passion and explained what our situation is here with ice sports in Pensacola, and let us plead our case. Plead our case for the consideration of year-round ice and at the Base Center. And also wanted to let you know that throughout these conversations, the Base Center has come back with a new schedule for us for April and has guaranteed us ice through the end of the month, which, allows the adult hockey to have their playoffs. It allows youth hockey to have their tryouts for their travel teams next season, and us to actually prepare our kids to compete for the first time this year. So we're happy to have those things happening. And I did want to kind of clarify this morning, Commissioner Berry had made the comment, they can ask all they want, but we don't have to build it. And I wanted to make sure that it's clear to everyone, this is not a public park that we just go to and use for free. Between the 3 organizations, the youth hockey, adult hockey, and figure skating club, will pay the Base Center around $160,000 this season alone, just for the little bit of ice time that we have. So we do pay back some of the expenses that are associated with the use of the ice. And as we move along, as we've said, we just want to make sure that whatever the decision is, that we've had an opportunity to have a place at the table and show you what we think we can add to the community, what we can provide to the youth and adults in this area. And just know that whatever the decision is, that we've been heard and we've had a voice. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and I appreciate spending some time with you and learn a lot more about ice skating. George Levy, you're up, and Marsha Lindstrom, you're on deck.
George Levy, Pensacola. I have 2 copies of, for the record. I want to just mention one thing. I had 2 things, but one is OF8, and I can't talk about that, I guess, until later.
George, will you pull the
Anyway.
mic? You pull the mic down. I can't. There you go. I guess. Thank you.
It's attacking me. My concern is stormwater drainage and flood mitigation. And how does Escambia County comply and enforce Florida state statutes and guidelines? There's the Florida State Statute 403, which is pollution control, and there's Chapter 373, which is water pollution. I think I mistyped that. Anyway, I think one is stormwater control. Anyway, guidelines from ERP, Stormwater Resource Center, Florida Stormwater Erosion and Sediment Control Inspector's Manual, Pensacola Bay System, and Pensacola Bay System Surface Water Improvement and Management. or does Escambia County ignore them and let developers do whatever they want? Could this be a considered favors? Thank you.
Thanks, George. Marcia, Lindstrom, you're up, and Betty Carter is on deck. Hi, how are you? I know we've been emailing quite a bit. Good to see a face.
We had. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm here to tell you about Save UWF. It's a grassroots organization of concerned citizens who are very worried about the appointments that the governor's made to the University Board of Trustees. The university is a stellar university in the state of Florida, and it hits so many high marks. It's number one in the percentage of graduates who go on to become employed or go on to further their education. It's been named to the top 10 regional universities in the South by U.S. World and News Report, and it's the best university for veterans in the nation. So if it's not broke, don't try to fix it in the wrong way. Our organization, Save UWF, it's just a group of citizens who are very concerned. The community is very upset about this. And we have a petition that is asking the Senate Ethics Committee, which is chaired by our state senator, Don Gates, to oppose the confirmation of Scott Yenor, who's from Idaho, and he's made awful remarks against women, against Jews, against other ethnic and religious folks. This is not what Pensacola and Escambia County is about. We are a welcoming place, we are a diverse place, and we have an excellent university. There's going to be a town hall meeting March 18th at the Studer Community Institute at 5 o'clock, and we've got a number of great speakers lined up. There's an online petition. There are new billboards now around the city and county. Wow. So you'll probably see yard signs sprouting up, but I really am just here to inform you about this, to express grave concern, and to ask if it's possible to send a letter of support or a resolution supporting our wonderful university to the Senate Ethics Committee under Don Gates. I have copies of the petition for your information and information about the town hall, and appreciate very much your letting me
Please hand those
be
to the
here.
deputy so we can see. Commissioner Berry, did you have a comment?
Yeah, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. I signed the petition online recently related to this as a, as the representative that represents the footprint of the university, as well as an alumni, which my spouse is an alumni as well. I love the university. I think everything is going fantastic there. Dr. Saunders does a great job, and I think your comment about if it's not broke, why are we trying to institute such a drastic change to fix something that's not needed? Personally, that's my opinion. I don't know if that's the opinion of the majority of the board, but I would be supportive of anything that relates to supporting the university and supporting the efforts of this group and this endeavor. I have seen the comments of the gentleman that's been proposed to be on the Board of Trustees. Is not the only comments of a board member that's been proposed that I've been concerned about, but they were the most egregious. There were others that were concerning, but they were the most egregious. I have spoken to to our dear friend and senator about the issue that's going to be coming before the committee. That's something I support personally. I don't know if it's an issue that the board wants to take up, but if there were an appetite for that, I would be very supportive of that, of anything related to the university in this endeavor. So,
Thank you. We'll do this quickly. I'm going to let her go first, and you, because her light was on first. Go ahead.
As a female alumni that graduated from the University of West Florida, I absolutely agree. So I would also be in favor of writing a letter just supporting the university. It's a huge part of our community and who we are here in Escambia County.
If I might just say, the economic impact of the university annually in the 8 counties of our district is $1.5 billion. That's billion with a B, dollars a year. It's a huge economic boost to our region.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner May?
If you're counting the three, Commissioner Berry, I certainly support. I'm an undergrad and a grad student at the University of West Florida, as well as serving in student government and the Black Student Union, and a big fan of Martha Saunders. So you'll find my full support, Commissioner Berry. I think that whatever we can do to support the university and Dr. Saunders, we should be doing it.
Well, ma'am, it sounds like you got board support. I also was a master's
I
graduate
know.
degree program out there as well. And, you know, obviously, the governor recommends these people, and we just get, you know, some of the comments were pretty over the top. If the board wants to go forward with a letter, I guess we could do a joint letter, or is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see you know, perhaps Mrs. Lindstrom would be supportive of drafting something that the board.
Absolutely,
That the board
yes.
would be
And
supportive of.
we'll let legal take a look at it, and
Yeah, and then if you want to bring it back to a board agenda to sign, and then maybe forwarding that to the confirmation committee, to the committee that will hear the possible confirmations. I think Dr. Saunders would be appreciative of that. I'm not familiar with any of the folks that are in the audience today that are speaking today, but I think they'd be supportive of that. I would certainly think that's fantastic. It's surprising, I guess. I'll just leave. It's surprising that that a person that made comments of that manner and that has not backed off of those comments and has then been, you know, I guess, supported again from the governor's office even after that. It's surprising that that's moving forward, but it matters to me. And you know, one thing that I'm going to mention tonight during Commissioners Forum, we had a youth outdoor mountain bike event out in District 5 off of 10 Mile Road, but it went through some property in the nature trail area that the university owns and controls, and Florida Power and Light controls a portion of it as well. But we had 5,000 kids here riding Saturday and Sunday. That's a huge impact to our community, 5,000 children coming here to, or adolescents coming here to ride. We wouldn't be able to do things like that without the support of the university. And we've gotten, you know, I just speak for Commissioner May and I, you know, over the last 12 years, we've gotten unconditional support from anything that we've needed from the university. And I feel like this is something that the university may need from us. And, you know, their administration as well as their student body. You know, we've already lost a number of faculty members, you know, after these appointments were made, or after these appointments were, you know, proposed, these trustees were proposed. We've lost a number of faculty members, including I believe the head of the School of Medicine, or the medical program at the university, I believe has left after these were proposed, Dr. Kundu. So it has a real impact, and anything that we can do to be supportive, Mike, I'd be supportive of that.
I think, Ms. Lindstrom, you're coming down tonight, may get you something from
Thank you,
us.
Ashley.
Out of courtesy, I will reach out to Mr. Yenner and ask him to justify his comments for me. I don't know if he will or not, just because I think they were so egregious. But on the other hand, if he'll work with us, we'll get with legal and we'll formulate something. It sounds like the board will probably move forward with something for you.
Thank you very much. Now, do you want this to take the form of a letter?
We can fine tune the letter. I've done enough of those. Just put some bullets so we can see.
And who should I send it to?
Me is fine, and then I'll work with a legal, or I'll draft it. I'm pretty good at drafting letters, and then I'll send it to the legal consent the board to see if the board itself's okay with that.
I do want you to know that among the citizens group, Save UWF, there are a number of former trustees, and it's just a widespread, wonderful bunch of community leaders. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, we'll be in touch.
Hey, I tell you, government works sometimes.
And
Thanks
Mr.
a
Chairman,
lot.
I
Appreciate
just,
it.
to be clear and transparent, I know a number of us have a relationship with Dr. Saunders, but, you know, I do as well, and recently I offered my support, and, you know, this is going to go to a committee, and I offered my vocal support in the committee hearing if that's, you know, whatever she would like to support the university in this endeavor, I'd be happy to do. I was offering that as just my individual capacity, but if the board were willing to engage in a letter of support to the committee that would actually hear it, I'd be happy to present that letter as a, you know, in person as physical testimony to the board's interest in that.
So Commissioner Berry, what I'm hearing is we need 2 letters, one for them, one for the Ethics Commission for you, and then we'll look at those collectively and see if we agree with them in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, let's, that was good discussion. Betty Carter? And then Barbara Hale, you're on deck.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think I know what these ladies are speaking to, and it's an agenda item that probably would not be appropriate for public forum to sign up for the agenda item. I think it relates to the Shantytown building, the Macmillan Center. Is that correct?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, so you wouldn't want to speak in public forum. You'd want to speak to the agenda item when it comes up, Barbara.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't pick up on that till Commissioner May said that, but yes, if you would like to speak, will you sign up for the regular meeting? They'll follow right after this?
Okay, and what time would that
It
be?
just as soon as this is over with.
Okay.
But when it's on the agenda, you have to speak to it on the
And
agenda.
Let's see, we
No,
got Barbara Hale.
It won't be long.
And we got 3 people. Atayla Hale.
It won't be long, Barbara.
It's Atley.
Atley, I'm sorry, ma'am. Okay, all right, then we're up to Chris Kerb. That's it, after Chris, unless, is there, oh, no.
How y'all you doing this evening? I'm Chris Kerr with Flood Defenders. The last board meeting I was at, on the 20th of March, y'all had a stormwater ordinance that we kicked the can down the road. And I'm telling you, that's wasn't a wise decision. I really didn't prepare anything to submit to you this evening. Reviewing Santa Rosa County's land development code, I got put on their task force for land development code changes. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is the FDOT 2024 rainfall data that was in that ordinance that you didn't pass. What we're doing is we're putting a 16.2 unit cup of water in a 13.4 unit cup of water. What happens when you put 16.2 ounces of water in a 13.44 ounce cup of water? It overflows. Where your land development code requires that your 100-year pre and post-development, your post-development be less than your pre-development flow rate. It's not about the subdivision or the development, the internal part of it. It's about what goes on down gradient. What is your cumulative impact to your watershed? I was called out up here by, well, I won't go into that, but I was questioned. We're not having any problems with our old stormwater design, Mr. Berry. We're not having any problems with using 1979 rainfall data, but we are. You just issued a contract for Bayou Marcus Branch B basin, and that basin is $1.5 million. You know how many cups are in there that are built at a 13.44 inch unit of rain? A whole lot of them. There's a whole lot of them built to the 11 inch, 25 year. That happened before 2015 when you changed your code. Oakfield Acres is another one. How much are you spending downgrading a Monarch Place subdivision? It was designed with the old obsolete 1979 rainfall data. And we're building a stormwater pond down gradient and putting inlets up gradient because the engineer that got up here said it. We don't have any problems in the interior. It's about the watershed. It's not about the interior. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your comments. Mary Konopka, you're up. Ms. Johnson, Rosa Johnson, are you out there? I just have a question. Are you want to speak on the Macmillan building? Yes. You'll have to sign up for regular forum as well. I just saw that you're on the list. Ms. Johnson?
Is there a reason that I can't speak on it now?
It's on the agenda tonight. So if it's an agenda item, you have to speak on it during. Yes, ma'am. Everyone, if you go out, we'll get you signed up for that tonight in the regular forum. So we'll make sure that everyone gets to speak.
Where's our district manager?
Okay, actually, they've already moved you. I just found out you don't have to do anything tonight. When that item comes up, you'll all get a chance to speak, okay? Mary Konopka, you're up now. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I promise we'll listen to you at a regular meeting. Mary Konopka, you're up. I got several speakers, and so if we got to keep moving here.
We doing military or civilian today?
Chief, if you want to be chief, I respect that. Chief, let's hear what you got to say.
Well, thank you, Captain, Commander, and the rest of y'all. Good afternoon. I would like to talk to you about buyouts. I'm not sure if y'all know about buyouts, but in a quick nutshell, because the captain's in a hurry, a buyout is when, for instance, in flooding, somebody floods and floods and floods, and it just really disrupts their life. FEMA takes care of that. Federal dollars take care of that. People can apply for a buyout, but there's very specific standards they have to follow. Some of these places don't quite fit into the standard, but they're really bad. So they can take that to state court. It's a type of inverse condemnation that's in favor of the client. Our president is cutting down the staff of FEMA. He wants FEMA budget to be for disasters. Well, when it rains a couple of days here and a house really floods badly, over and over again when it rains, that doesn't fall into a natural disaster. So I'm afraid he's going to cut the program like he's cut a bunch of people. How many buyouts does this county have right now? That is above my pay grade. I can't get the answer to that, but I believe it's between 40 and 50. Now, if they buy out something, let's just hypothetically say $100,000, and FEMA stops doing that, and it all goes to state courts for this county, and the courts apply. It's written, every county. So if you have, say, 40 buyouts, it's on this county to buy them out. Hypothetically, $100,000 times 40 is what? I know the answer. $4 million. Can the county afford that? So the bottom line is, when you vote on this stuff to change zoning from LDR to MDR, you know what you're voting on. You're voting on a developer buying that property and then developing it. And I think y'all really need to go out and see these areas.
Chief, I'm going to have to close you down because I got 10 more speakers before 5 Thursday, so can you wrap up your thoughts?
Okay, my thoughts are just, this is my research, nothing's final. You can keep researching it too, but I think that we really need to be careful about development, especially, I bet you those buyouts we have are mostly in District 1 probably, because that's wetlands.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Stan McDaniels are up, and Larry Downs Jr. on deck.
I'm ready. Put me in, Coach.
Next, well, come on, Stan.
All right. Hey, Mr. Chair. Oh, well, it's been a very eventful couple weeks. We got a lawsuit filed against ECUA to get the fluoridation stopped in our water. So hoping that's going to end that practice of fluoridating our water here in Escambia County through the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority. It's time for our government officials to start realizing who's really in charge here, and that's we the people. When we ask of things that are of a public interest, it's really important that you guys act on it. We've been lied to for so long by so many organizations at our federal level that have dictated a lot of what you guys have done here, and it's time to start wrapping those things up. It's time for y'all to start looking at the budget here and start cutting some things as well, as we watch our federal government get cut down to shreds too. It's time that we stop funding all these NGOs that we fund, when once we give them all that money, it's just gone to the wind. Who's Visit Pensacola marketing to? What demographic are they marketing to? Because I can't figure that one out. They're an NGO, and that is beyond the Freedom of Information Act. So please, get with the program and start making the cuts, looking for the fraud, waste, and abuse right here in Escambia County, because we need to be moving forward with making these cuts so that we can spend more money on our infrastructure, right? On the things that the public really needs to progress. Stop funding foreign corporations through our economic development programs and start funding American companies, American entrepreneurs, Escambia County entrepreneurs. That's what we should be doing with those economic development funds, not $210 million to a foreign corporation on jobs that we train our very military here to do, and then they bring in people from Chile? Come on, guys. It's time that we stop all these terrible practices of funding for our foreign enemies right here at this county. And I also want to bring to you guys' attention that there's going to be more lawsuits coming forward. When you guys don't act, there's going to be more lawsuits. AI is changing the game, and I'm coming for justice. I'm
Thanks.
Stan McDaniels, and I'm running for Congress.
Thanks, Stan. Larry Downs Jr., please. And Georgia Brazil, I think, is next.
Larry Downs, Jr. Plumbate LLC, because FECO matters. All right, let's get on with it. All right, I got a few things. I'm gonna give y'all a break, just a teeny break, not a lot though. Hey, maybe we could get and I'm loving that lawsuit. Y'all liking that lawsuit? Get that hexafluorosilicic acid out of the water. And I'm sure I'm butchering the word, but I mean, they make them where we can't pronounce them for a reason. And then they call them something else, like corporate chemical injections. I mean, vaccines, sorry. The Publix, I just want y'all to know that Publix is the only grocery store that I am aware of who gives away their stuff that is about to expire. They give it away to local churches, charities, even some to the, and I didn't even know this. This lady I've been talking to for a year, I finally asked her, I said, what are you doing? Why you get all this food? We just talked about the COVID shots for a year. But anyways, if y'all gonna go shop somewhere, you know, Aldi's, Walmart, none of them, Winn-Dixie, they won't do it because they got no balls. They're scared they'll get sued. Now imagine that. You know, and I know we're living in a day and age where women got more balls than men, but man, we got to do something, figuratively speaking, of course. Also, I wanted to mention the building department. It's been brought to my attention that we have a little bit of a problem getting to our permits, access, and all that stuff. Maybe somebody's brought it up to you or not, but we need to just make it easy. Just do something to make it easy so we can access and see when our permits are passed or failed, you know, so we know what Big Daddy's doing, you know.
Larry, actually, I heard about that this week, and I'm going to address that.
Yeah. Another thing, too, is I would like for y'all to send UWF a letter to request that they stop requiring corporate chemical injections called vaccines for private corporations who happen to be immune to all liability for products they haven't evaluated to be safe from carcinogenic, mutagenic potential, or impairment of fertility. We got to stop that. So if y'all going to send a letter to stop this dum-dum who's out here saying dum-dum stuff.
Don't get in trouble.
One other thing, and I won't say it like that. I'll say it like a German says it. Doge, can we start a Doge committee here? I would like to be on it. I would like to be, one of the appointees for it. Just start it for our local, for our local government here. I mean, if it's good enough for Trump, it's good enough for us here locally, I think.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Mr.
MissionObvious.com.
Thank you very much. Georgia Brazil, thank you. And Eric Sharplin, you're next. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Georgia Brazell, and I'm a resident and a homeowner in the Cottage Hill area of Cantonment, Florida. D.R. Horton has proposed a 404-home housing development to be built right in the middle of that small, rural, low-density community. We have a lot of concerns about this, but the one I want to talk about briefly is environmental, because this will impact directly the habitat of 2 threatened species. I didn't know about all this before I started researching it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. The gopher tortoise is definitely on that property. This is 197 acres. And the gopher tortoise is considered a species that over 350 other species make use of their burrows. So they're considered a landstone species, a keystone species, I'm sorry. Per the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission website, 100% of the burrow area must be conducted over the entire development. Survey must be conducted over the entire development. And the tortoises must be relocated before any land clearing or development takes place. And of course, permits must be obtained before they can be moved. A disturbance of a burrow is considered any type of work within 25 feet of a burrow. An authorized gopher tortoise agent usually is required for all captures and releases. Then there's the fact that this property has a freshwater lake and also some freshwater creeks that empty into the Escambia River. Okay, that is a very important element in the spawning process for the Gulf sturgeon. The Gulf sturgeon is also a threatened species under Florida state law. And what happens is that the adults live in salt water, and then they move upstream. They travel upstream for miles to where they were born in order to spawn. But they have to have fresh water to do this. So our concern is that construction waste, floodwaters, and other contaminants will be washed down into eventually the Escambia River, because with the topography of this 197 acres, we feel it's going to be almost impossible to create effective enough barriers to keep this from happening and to keep the water in Escambia River fresh enough for the sturgeon to be able to spawn. If those eggs, they do spawn and those eggs get covered with silt and sediment, they will not hatch.
Ms. Brazil, your time's almost up. If you could finish your thoughts.
Yes, sir. We just hope that you all would consider the fact that this is very impactful to these 2 threatened species, state-threatened species, and consider that when making decisions about this property. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your comments with us. Eric Sharplin's up, and then Bobby Kinsella's on deck.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to say, Mike, that was your best idea for last week was everybody get to know us for 30 days. I see people coming in on high horses wanting to topple them. They can't give a reason. We got the best administrator that we've had down here in 20 years. He does everything that we ask of him. I've talked to Mr. Barry and Lubin. He does everything for him, for them and everybody, and he's just a very humble man. if he's not sure, he don't go rush make a decision. He goes and he consults his commissioners and talks to them. And do you really want a new administrator in here when we're about to do the budget? Who else would know the budget better than our Wes? So just long and hard about that. I know you caught some flack on ECW. They think you went to the other side because you wouldn't support your vice chairman, but there's just no reason to make a change. Give him a chance to get to know him. I think we'll find out he's doing a good job. I heard nothing myself negative on him, and I just think it's probably the best thing is to give it 6 months and then do an evaluation, but let's get through the budget first. All right, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Bobby Kinsella, you're on deck, or up, and then Sean Parker's on deck.
Thank you for hearing me. What I'd like to do is all these problems I've heard that they're talking about tonight sounds very difficult. This one that I propose to you now is very simple. I represent the youth basketball program at Wedgewood Community Center. Before it was shut down in July, I've been running it since 2015. We were told that they were going to reopen the center in October. Then we heard in January. It's now March. And we've got 85 kids in our care that we don't have a place for them to practice. We don't have a place for them to do their tutoring. It is so hard to maintain all these kids and make sure that their grades are where they're supposed to be, and they're doing everything they're expected to do to be a part of the basketball program if we don't have a place to do it. Now, they posted a job app by the Board of County Commissioners for Wedgewood, for the community center manager back in October, and which I applied, but I just got an email Monday saying that they have chosen to not choose anyone for that position. I immediately looked on the Board of County Commissioners site. They have a new posting listed, which I have applied for, and the simple thing that I'm asking you is not for me, is for the kids that are in my care. Make a position that's part-time for the athletic director for Wedgewood Community Center, because unless you're a staffed employee of the county, you can't be in the Wedgewood Community Center as it is now. It used to be run by the Homeowners Association there, in which I was the appointed athletic director. But now you have to be a staffed employee. I can't do a full-time job with it. I have my own job. But I could certainly be part-time. Since 2015, I've volunteered countless hours. We all have, all of our coaches, in pursuit of making a basketball program that these kids can be proud of. So all I ask is that you create a part-time position at Wedgewood for the basketball program, and I can have 20 kids in there with tutors on Monday morning or on Monday afternoon after school. I can fill it next week. We can't find anywhere to go. The middle schools, you got to go through Facilitron to rent the facility to be able to practice there, which is $200 and $300 a night. That's not going to happen. You can't, countless churches, none of them have any time or the space available for us. So I just implore you, something's got to be done.
Yeah, I know Commissioner May walked off. Audrey, would you mind getting his number? And I'm going to have Neighborhood Services reach out, because I actually thought we reopened up Wedgewood, and Claire is on her way down. But I'm going to have someone, since this is in Commissioner May's district, I'll have Audrey get your number, and we'll work with Neighborhood Services to find out why we can't get this open for you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Clayton Brown, are you here for the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to make a comment? Okay. What about Michael? How do I say your last name? Coop. Do you want to make a comment?
I think I would just say I support the Wedgewood opening. I've come here recently, and the options for basketball here are not what I would have hoped. And Pensacola Elite provides something that's very, very unique. We got great basketball players here, unbelievable ones in Pensacola. We need opportunities for them to play.
Okay, and thank you. Is Sean Parker?
Yes.
Okay, that's you, sir. You have a comment?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Board. Sean Parker. I just kind of want to talk about that we're not just a basketball program, Pensacola Elite. We take our at-risk youth in the community. We mentor them, we tutor them, we try to keep them out of the streets of Pensacola, which we know, each of you know, is very dangerous. The shutting down of Wedgwood Community Center is a setback to those kids in that community. And I'm a little disappointed that Commissioner May walked out. But it's disappointing for us, for that community, for those kids. Everything is geared towards the seniors in that community. But what about our children? We have children in this community that needs it. And the operating hours for that facility makes absolutely no sense when kids are in school during the time that it is open. We're looking at not just the mentorship and the tutoring, and not even just Wedgwood Community Center. Let's talk about all the community centers that's in the area, that's in each of your districts. They're unavailable for nonprofit organizations unless you come off of about $8,000 a month. It makes no sense for our kids, for these people, for these tutors, for these gentlemen, for these ladies, be out here taking in these kids and helping them striving, helping them in school, their schoolwork, helping them stay out of the streets, forging a path, because we have awesome, awesome role models in this community, and they are not being utilized because we have no place for them to go. And the last point I'm going to make is pretty soon we're going to have a cut in the Department of Education. That's going to affect a lot of programs for our kids, for our at-risk kids. We provide a lot of that. We do that on a daily basis for our kids. We go and we have these conversations with the parents on a daily basis. This is not something that we want to do. This is something that we are doing. And so I really hope that we can get something moved on at least Wedgwood Community Center so that we can do what's right for our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Thank you all for that. And before you leave, don't leave, because Claire, if you wouldn't mind talking them out back and see, I don't know what the plan is for Wedgwood, but if you could answer the questions and help me out. So she's our neighborhood services, and we'll see where we're at. I did have one other speaker, Kathleen Eden, on this. Is Kathleen here? Where is she?
Yep.
Does she want to speak?
Colton's mom.
Yeah. Oh, you want to come on up and make a comment, ma'am?
So I'm Kathleen. I'm a parent of my son Colton, who's here, and he is a basketball player for Pensacola Elite.
Come up to the mic a little bit. Thank you.
I just want to say that this program that they have going for these players, there's about 90 players on this team. They are not just teaching them the game of basketball, but they're teaching them the game of life. They're teaching them accountability, responsibility, discipline, and then the mentorship, the tutoring, that is in the connections they're making with these boys and these girls, just will help our community, not just right now for them while they're young, but as adults too. Children are our future, is what it comes down to. And it takes a village to raise kids, and they are their village. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Eden, for your comment. Now, Marty Eden, you're on there too. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon. Make this really quick. We just got into Pensacola Elite, and I'm going to tell you, this group of guys right here are the best thing that could happen to these kids. Best coaches I've ever seen. They generally care about these kids. So we need to do something to open up these community centers to get these coaches back with these kids. Mentoring, like my wife said, it's not just about basketball. It's about life. Getting these kids off the street, getting them something to be proud of. And this group of guys is the best that can do it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and hopefully we can get a resolution for y'all.
Thank you.
Jose, is that it? Wow, okay, so we went through some of that because it was a topic. All right, this will conclude public forum. We'll reconvene for the regular meeting at 5:30 PM.